This is Sunrise Extra, streaming live on Wave Now.
Good Tuesday morning to you, 7 o'clock right now. I'm Shannon Kogan.
And I'm Olivia Russell. Meteorologist Juana Andrew tracking those cold temperatures. Keep those coats around all week.
Oh, yeah. I'm actually getting ready to bring the even thicker winter coat out of the closet later on this week because we have some very cold air coming our way. But right now, we're seeing temperatures mainly in the 30s. And here's some pretty cool shots in our Kentucky Mesonet cameras. You can see the clouds increasing across the area. You can see that moon still setting. So we're off to a pretty good start, but keep in mind, once that sun comes up, it's really going to help with the warming process. We'll continue to monitor more of these clouds moving through this morning. As I mentioned, temperatures sitting in the 30s for everyone. We'll end up in the 50s for your highs this afternoon as the wind starts to pick up and we see that mix of sun and clouds. That wind will be gusting to near 35 miles per hour as we head into the late morning and the early afternoon. And while the wind relaxes overnight, more of those strong wind gusts, falling temperatures, all of that in the forecast tomorrow as we watch some rain and snow returning as well on Wednesday. Rob.
Okay, Tawana, thanks so much. Hey, good morning to you. Glad to see you at 7:01 on your Tuesday morning. I hope it's a great start to your Tuesday. And as Tawana was saying, that wind may really affect some of the drive home this afternoon. But right now, looking pretty good. The big picture not showing any major slowdowns or tie-ups. The yellow icons, just a few disabled vehicles that we've been keeping an eye on all morning. So you want to watch your speed through those areas. Otherwise, things looking pretty good right now. Here's a look at your drive times. If anything changes throughout the morning, we're going to let you know as far as affecting your commute to work and school. Olivia.
Thank you, Rob. We start with an update to a story we brought you yesterday on Sunrise. We've learned the name of the student who was killed in a shooting in Elizabethtown.
Hardin County Schools remembering Kaiten Atwell. She was killed over the weekend. They say they're saddened to learn of the passing of one of their students. They say Kaiten was enrolled in the virtual school. Police say she was killed in a shooting in a Lowe's parking lot. 21-year-old Brian Harbison, they say, has been arrested, and a 15-year-old girl. They say that he was messaging them over Snapchat. Investigators say Harbison and the girls were drinking alcohol when this happened. Harbison told officers that the other teen girl grabbed a gun out of his glove box. Police say the 15-year-old admitted to shooting Kaiten, but says Harbison had put the gun on the center console and told her it was unloaded. She is charged with murder. He is charged with wanton endangerment and unlawful transaction with a minor.
A safety alert this morning as thousands of fentanyl pills have been seized before reaching the communities in Louisville. The Jefferson County Sheriff's Office says they seized around 11,000 fentanyl pills during an investigation. Investigators believe the pills were headed directly to an address here in Louisville. 2 men have been charged in connection with the case. Because this is an ongoing investigation, the Sheriff's Office is not releasing details about how the pills were discovered or how deputies were tipped off about them. The investigation remains active and additional charges are possible. In Indiana, Governor Mike Braun is celebrating ISP's work cracking down on drug crimes. Governor Braun says there was a 60% drop in the number of overdose deaths last year. Doctors say it's still a serious state issue, so if you or someone you know is using substances, it's important to have Narcan on hand. Medical experts say it's also important to know the symptoms of overdoses, such as shallow breathing and pinpoint pupils. Doctors worry negative beliefs about addiction are preventing people from getting help.
Substance use is a chronic disease. That's the biggest thing to help decrease the stigma about it. It is a disease. And when you look at it that way, why wouldn't you seek help if you have a disease?
He says for those not sure if they have an addiction, focus on symptoms you may have, such as an increased tolerance or intense cravings for drugs and alcohol.
This morning, a man's recovering after he was shot during a carjacking in the Russell neighborhood. It happened on South 11th Street near Baxter Park Monday night. Police say the man was stopped by a person he did not know who demanded his car and then shot him. Officers say that man then took the car and left the neighborhood. LMPD found the victim's car not far from the scene, but so far they have not made any arrests. Anyone with information is asked to call LMPD.
A man is seriously hurt after a police cruiser hit him in southern Indiana. Indiana State Police say that crash happened Sunday night at 11 o'clock. Investigators tell us a man was walking on Court and Ramsey Road when he was hit by Sergeant Glenn Crawford with Court and Police. The victim was taken to U of L Hospital with serious injuries. State Police say Crawford was on duty at the time of the crash.
Last year, a bill to allow Kentucky tow truck drivers to use blue lights at the scene of a wreck went to a committee hearing, but then it didn't make it beyond that. Those supporting the measure are trying again.
The bill known as Troy's Law was introduced again on Thursday. It's sponsored by Kentucky Representatives Richard White and Patrick Flannery. Wave News reporter Rob Wells is back with details on this. Rob?
Hi, Olivia. Bubba Johnson, who's the owner of Bubba's Towing and Recovery, has been pushing for side-of-the-road safety for crash responders for more than a year now. Johnson says that getting killed on the side of the road is a daily danger for tow truck drivers, not only here in the Commonwealth, but nationwide. Johnson's friend and fellow tow truck driver Troy Caldwell was fatally struck while working on the side of the interstate in Bath County in 2024. Now he, along with fellow tow truck drivers, are doing what they can to prevent that type of tragedy. The bill would allow tow truck drivers to use rear-facing blue flashing lights at the scene of a wreck for better visibility to other drivers.
What would you want people to do if it was you or your loved one? You would want them to slow down and move over. We have to make changes in our industry that helps us and our people out here working to ensure their safety.
Blue lights would be permitted for use only when the wrecker is stopped and loading vehicles or debris from the roadway. The bill bans the use of blue lights while the tow truck is driving. The bill is currently moving through the Kentucky legislative session. Of course, we're going to keep you posted on its progress. Shannon, back over to you.
Thank you. Another new bill filed this week would bolster emergency preparedness by encouraging Kentucky families to make their homes safer for natural disasters. Senate Bill 11 would create a rebate program to help homeowners afford to build or install safe rooms. Under the bill, eligible homeowners may get a rebate up to $5,000. To qualify, safe rooms must meet or exceed FEMA's nationally recognized standards, and homeowners must agree to open their safe rooms to others in the community during emergencies. The legislation also directs the state to maintain a list publicly of available safe rooms. Indiana Governor Mike Braun will deliver his 2026 State of the State address tomorrow night. He'll speak to a joint session of the General Assembly at 7:30. Last year, Braun pushed for property tax relief, healthcare price transparency, and universal school choice. This will be his first full address to state lawmakers since members of the Senate rejected his plan that he supported to redraw congressional districts in Indiana.
The Louisville Cardinals are back in action at the KFC Yum Center tonight in a top 25 matchup against Virginia. Once again, the Cards won't have everyone available, though. The Cards coming off a win against Boston College Saturday afternoon. The latest injury report has star point guard Michael Brown Jr. out for this one, still dealing with a back injury. Ryan Conwell listed as probable, and Kenai Ruths is questionable with an illness. Conwell missed the last game against Boston College after hurting his knee in practice. Brown, though, has missed the last 6 games with a back injury. Head coach Pat Kelsey says Brown is working hard to return back to the court, but he's not quite sure when that will happen.
Fully expect him to be back out there this season at some point. When that is, I don't know right now, but that's where it stands as of today.
Tip-off for tonight's matchup between the Cards and the Cavaliers is scheduled for 7 o'clock at the KFC Yum Center. You can watch that game on ESPN2.
You know, Brown is really missed.
And a lot of fans hoping he's getting better.
Yeah. Well, some good news for your wallet. President Trump announces a deal with a major drug maker to lower prescription prices.
We have details on what drugs are covered by the deal as Wave Sunrise Extra continues. learning more about a potential measles exposure in Lexington. According to health officials, the person stayed at the Hyatt Place in Hamburg from December 31st to January 2nd. They also say the person was unvaccinated and an out-of-state traveler. Measles is a highly contagious respiratory virus that can cause serious health complications, especially in young children. So if you have concerns about exposure to measles, you should contact your doctor.
President Trump says he's reached an agreement with drug maker AbbVie that he says will drop the price of some medicines. AbbVie says they'll offer various medications to Medicaid and consumers at the lowest price available in peer countries. Some of the drugs include Compigan, which treats glaucoma, and Synthroid, a thyroid hormone medication. And Johnson & Johnson said Thursday that it, too, would sell medicines directly to patients at significantly discounted rates and provide drugs to Medicaid at prices comparable to those in other developed nations. We got a behind-the-scenes look at an Indiana pharmacy. It provides specialized medications for patients in Jeffersonville. This is the inside Optum Specialized Pharmacy. Representatives say the company ships prescriptions to more than 103,000 Hoosiers and millions more nationwide. And the medicine is to treat rare conditions, things like Crohn's disease, cancer, and more.
To classify as a specialty medication, that means that it either has a complex route of administration, the monitoring of the medication may be difficult, or just overall need reported follow-ups.
So the packing stations are on
The pharmacy also ships medications like weight loss, GLP-1s. Well, any of those postal deliverers today are going to need to bundle up.
Yeah, I mean, even that run from the truck to your front door is cold.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I feel bad for everybody having to do any sort of work outdoors as we get into later on this week, because it's about to get cold, y'all. What we're dealing with right now, we have high pressure in control of our weather, watching a couple of waves of energy just moving across the country. And with the one that's off towards our west, we are dealing with some of these extra upper level clouds streaming into our region. If you look closely on our SkyTrack camera, looking from New Albany off towards the east, towards the locks and dams, you can see those upper level clouds streaming in. So they're going to make for some pretty cool sunrises across the area. Our temperatures stuck in the 30s right now, 36 in Hardinsburg, 34 in Madison, 39 at the airport in Louisville. That southerly wind kind of doing its thing. It's still light though, less than 10 miles per hour in most spots. And then we get into later on this afternoon. This is when the wind really picks up with some gusts near 35 miles per hour possible. With the southwesterly wind and some of that sunshine around, we're going to climb easily into the 50s for your highs. So for today, yes, more of these upper level clouds streaming through the area. The sunshine will filter throughout the day. So don't forget your sunglasses in addition to the Jackson coats that you're going to need for today. Then we head into tonight. The clouds really take over as our next system finally arrives, and we watch some rain starting to fall. So here's the thing with our temperatures. We are going to see highs in the 50s for today. And then we start to fall down into the 40s for tonight. And then we'll just keep dropping as we get throughout the day on your Wednesday. As our temperatures fall, you're going to see that chance of rain switching over to a chance of snow. So some light rain around for your Wednesday morning. We'll watch that dropping out of our region as we get into the mid to late morning hours. But temperatures will also be dropping as we get into your Wednesday afternoon. So any scattered rain showers across the region will become scattered snow showers. And we'll watch some minor accumulations here and there. We'll keep that potential for some flurries flying, light snow for your Wednesday night into early Thursday. My concern with the afternoon commute on your Wednesday with those scattered snow showers around will be the wind, with some of those gusts near 30 miles per hour with that blowing snow around. That could lead to some lower visibility and some travel issues. Some flurries and light snow showers possible for portions, but not all of your Thursday. In fact, we can actually see a decent amount of sunshine on Thursday. Then we roll into Friday and Saturday. Here comes another wave, another set of lows moving through our area, bringing some snow for your Friday morning. Then again, more snow and rain for your Friday night into Saturday. So Saturday could be a bit of a snowy day across portions of our region. And then we'll just be sunny and cold on Sunday. So keep that in mind. We do see a gradual warming trend as we head through next week, eventually ending up in the 40s by next Thursday. But that will also come along with another chance for rain and snow in our forecast. Olivia.
All right, thanks, Tawana. The Warner Brothers Discovery Media acquisition heats up as Paramount is now filing a lawsuit in the battle. Paramount is asking a Delaware court to force Warner Brothers to provide information about its deal with Netflix. Paramount has been trying to buy Warner Brothers, but the company's board of directors inked a deal with Netflix instead. Paramount is trying to gain control of Warner Brothers in a hostile takeover where Paramount buys a majority of its stock. For that to work, a sufficient number of Warner Brothers shareholders would have to agree to sell. Indonesia and Malaysia have become the first countries to block Elon Musk's AI tool, Grok. The chatbot has been under scrutiny for allowing users to create sexually explicit images from real photos. In some cases, Grok has reportedly been used to digitally undress pictures of children. Officials in both Indonesia and Malaysia have said these sexually graphic images are the reason they've banned the tool. It's the perfect time to establish clear goals and make personal financial decisions for 2026.
It's a new year. Wave News anchor Don G had a chance to talk to an executive from one of the major credit bureaus about some of the first things that you can do to get your finances in order this year.
So our forecast shows that we're going to stay pretty much the same.
Michelle Ranieri is vice president and head of U.S. research and consulting for TransUnion, one of the 3 nationwide providers of consumer reports. Ranieri says this stability is significant because this could be a signal to the end of what has been called the COVID credit cycle.
So it started off with consumers getting stimulus money and really paying down a lot of credit. But then when they used up that money on vacations and buying things that they weren't able to for a while, they used it up and we saw delinquencies really go up.
For a happy new year, Ranieri shares tips for a financial strategy in 2026.
Best things that you can do probably right now, especially with interest rates that have been ticking down over this year, is to get a personal loan, like a consolidation loan to pay off your credit card.
The loan allows you to make a single monthly payment instead of lots of payments to different creditors, while also lowering your overall interest rates. If your credit score is low, that loan may be a little bit more expensive, or you can take a few months to try to build your credit score before you apply for the loan.
The trick, though, is to make sure that you don't run up your credit cards again to the point that they were before so that you don't put yourself in the same place.
Pay attention to your available credit and what percentage of that credit you are using. That is your credit utilization rate. To find your rate, divide your total credit card balances by your total credit card limits.
The higher utilization, it can take points off of your credit score.
As always, Ranieri stresses pay your bills on time. All of your bills, not just your credit cards.
1 day late makes a difference. That's considered not on time. Pay the entire minimum amount.
Pay more if you can. Paying only the minimum on credit cards will keep you in debt longer as the interest will continue to build.
Don't open a whole lot of credit because if you open a lot of credit, it kind of looks like you know something that the credit score doesn't know, like you're about to lose a job or something big is coming up that you need a financial net for.
In this new year, take advantage of decreasing interest rates when you can.
So if they have an auto loan or a mortgage that's a higher interest rate, as those come down, chase it and refinance. If you have to refinance more than once, go ahead and do it.
And if you'd like to see more tips on how to adjust your budget, just head to this story on wave3.com. And still ahead, it's a competition all about pet hair.
Hundreds came out, but only one took home the title of Best Mullet. We'll show you that coming up.
with the Milan Cortina Winter Olympics ahead, the U.S. Olympic figure skating team is now set. A full squad of 16 athletes was announced after the U.S. Figure Skating Championships in St. Louis this past weekend. The 2026 team stands an excellent chance of medaling across multiple events. Leading the team is Laia Malinen, known as the Quad God for his quadruple jumps. He remains untouchable, winning his fourth consecutive U.S. title. This is his first Olympic Games, though.
It's such an honor, and I'm so grateful that also just following in my parents' footsteps, they were two-time Olympians as well. And I'm just so excited to go there.
He's also been undefeated since late 2023. How incredible. So he's the front runner for Olympic gold in Milan. The Winter Olympics opening ceremony is coming up February 6th, and you can only watch the Olympics one place, Wave and NBC.
This week, the U.S. Postal Service is honoring boxing great Muhammad Ali with 2 new Forever stamps. The ceremony is happening Thursday at L&N Stadium to celebrate the first day of issue for the stamps. Mayor Greenberg will host a number of special guests, including Lonnie Ali, sports broadcaster Bob Costas, and U of L President Jerry Bradley. The USPS says it's honoring not only Ali's prowess inside the ring, but also his impact on civil rights. Customers can pre-order the stamps on the USPS website, and they'll ship on Thursday.
Hundreds of contestants were business in the front, party in the back in Pennsylvania. It's their annual mullet contest. In addition to winners in age categories, there's a Flow of Freedom Award. This goes to the most patriotic participant. The overall winner was 10-year-old Drew Fleshout, who was dressed as the movie character Joe Dirt.
What makes a good mullet?
A lot. Definitely the length. That is like a big factor. We love the style, your flair. Do you have accessories? Your presentation?
Boy, so many different types of mullets. It looks kind of cute on a kid.
They are adorable, and that is commitment right there, because it's not like you just grow it out for a few days for the contest. No, like that is long term. You probably take a year to grow that out.
Right? Yeah, because it has to be long in the back. Like it. We'll be right back.
This Wave News update is sponsored by Oxmoor Auto Group.
Good morning, I'm Shannon Kogan. We've learned the name of the student who was killed in a shooting in Elizabethtown. Hardin County Schools say Caitlin Atwell died over the weekend. She was enrolled in the virtual school. Police say she was killed in a shooting in a Lowe's parking lot. 21-year-old Brian Harbison is charged with wanton endangerment in connection to the shooting, and another 15-year-old girl is charged with her murder. Hardin County Schools says they have counselors there available to support students. Here is Tawana right now, and get ready for the temperatures to go down today.
No, we're going to be watching for more of those temperatures warming up pretty quickly as we head into the afternoon. So we actually see the warmest day of the week as we head into later on today. What we're dealing with right now, more of these upper level clouds moving into and through our area, making for some gorgeous sunrises, including this one on our SkyTrack camera in New Albany. So another beautiful start to the day. We're seeing temperatures right now in the 30s in most spots, and we're going to keep on climbing once we get into later on this afternoon, with highs today in the mid to upper 50s. Now, part of the reason that we will see this warm up will be, yes, the sunshine, but also we'll watch the wind gusting to near 35 miles per hour for later on this afternoon. We'll see that rain and snow showing up tomorrow as temperatures fall down on your Wednesday, and then we'll keep things chilly throughout the rest of the week. Rob?
Okay, Tawana, thanks so much. And at 7:28, a beautiful way to start this morning. No major incidents to talk about right now. This is 65 at the fairgrounds. Beautiful shot there of the sky out there. Nice, dry, clear conditions. Traffic moving it along at a pretty good clip. We are getting reports in, though, of an incident we want to pass along. This is 264 East at Crittenden Drive. 3 cars involved in what's called an accident there, so we are keeping an eye on that. Otherwise, make sure that you watch the speed, and we'll see you in 25 minutes from now.
Good morning and happy Tuesday to you. Thanks so much for staying with us here for Sunrise Extra. I'm Olivia Russell. We are counting down the days to the Milan Cortina Olympics. So exciting there. We'll have a feature on one of those athletes that you'll see out there representing Team USA. Plus, our troubleshooter Mark Stevens dives deeper into optometrist licensing concerns that you might want to learn and listen up
hear more about that. But first, we mentioned yesterday that Kentucky State University students were going back to the campus for the first time since a deadly shooting there back in December. Students yesterday say they've noticed an increase in security on campus as they return for this semester. Classes for that new semester started yesterday. It's the first time they've been on campus since 19-year-old DeJohn Fox Jr. was killed and another student was injured in that shooting. Some students say the increased law enforcement presence is a welcome change.
I hope that there be no violence for the rest of the semester. I hope that this isn't just for the beginning, and the security also stays up for the whole rest of the semester.
The man who shot Fox is not facing any charges. A grand jury declined to indict Jacob Bard. He says the shooting was in self-defense because a group of students was attacking him and his son, who was a KSU student. Several families are now without a place to stay after cigarette butts sparked an apartment fire overnight in East Louisville. That fire happened yesterday, just before 12:30 in the morning at the Summit Place Apartments near Norton Commons. Investigators say it started after cigarette butts were tossed into a flower pot. 3 units were heavily damaged, with others damaged by smoke and water. A total of 10 units had to have utilities shut off. Anchorage Fire says more than 20 people were displaced. Apartment management and the Red Cross is helping them relocate. Transportation leaders are laying the groundwork to replace aging bridges on I-65. The interstate will be completely shut down for 2 months this summer to accommodate that construction. 65 will be shut down from Jefferson Street to the Watterson in June and July. The project has some groups making their own traffic adjustments. U of L says they're definitely going to be affected, and they plan to announce a new traffic plan soon. Also, the Kentucky Expo Center has a lot going on this summer as usual. They're already having conversations with event organizers like the annual Run for the Roses basketball tournament, which draws thousands of people.
To be able to use the interstate or understand and know before you go on how to get to each court is going to be a big part of the conversation. We'll have people traveling from outside the country, people from Thailand, Australia have visited and they compete at that event. So it'll be, frankly, an opportunity for them to learn the inner workings of Louisville.
Right now, the project website shows a detour map that takes motorists around the city on the Watterson to I-64 with access to the city on the Jefferson Street ramp. The Kentucky Speedway cost $150 million when it was built back in the year 2000. Now the track lies dormant as no races have happened there since 2020. Brian Hamrick shares how Gallatin County officials don't believe racing will ever happen again, but a zoning for a new industry is now on the table.
The biggest thing not happening in the region.
It's been 5 years since we've had any racing at the Kentucky Speedway.
Is not happening at the Kentucky Speedway.
It's an eyesore now.
And it might never happen again.
In the conversations that we've had about, hey, let's get to racing, I think the idea is racing's probably not coming back in the foreseeable future.
Ryan Morris is judge executive in Gallatin County. He says they're looking at rezoning the Speedway property to accommodate industry.
For me, with this particular property, the zone change is just to say, hey, if we're not going to race, let's market the property.
The track is owned by the Bruton Smith family, NASCAR moguls. Some of the parking areas around the Speedway are already for sale. The county says the owners have no objections to a zone change.
About this zoning change, doesn't sound like they're ever going to bring racing back.
I doubt it. Not in my lifetime.
The last race here was in 2020. Now it's a grandstand ghost town with seating for more than 100,000 ghosts.
I remember them building that, and it looked so cool. We've been to a couple races there, but it's just sitting there.
Concerns about a data center locating here are circulating, but the county says nothing is planned yet at a track that became the road less traveled.
A meeting is happening at Warsaw City Hall today to discuss potential new developments at the Speedway. A Southern Indiana community is pushing back after a pet store moved across state lines. The store Puppygram used to have a location in Louisville, but it was forced to move when Jefferson County passed an ordinance banning the retail sale of cats and dogs at pet stores. Now, Southern Indiana residents want a similar ordinance passed there. A group of people started a Facebook group called Southern Indiana Animal Welfare Watchdogs at the end of last year. They plan to help the city of Clarksville hold organizations accountable and will provide town council with a regular report. support. While the group wasn't created to single out a specific person or organization, many in the group, like Erin Doherty, have joined because of concerns about Puppygram, which recently moved to Green Tree Mall. Doherty says she's worried about the conditions puppies are being kept in and where they're coming from.
There is no breeder list, there is no rescue list. Where is the information for the breeders, where you're getting them from? Because if you can't provide that, then you allow people to assume they're coming from puppy mills.
Clarksville Town Council member Tony Munich told us the city is planning to look into potential changes to its ordinance. He also says animal control has been out to Puppygram multiple times and has not reported any concerns. Puppygram CEO says the concerns around his business come from misinformation spread on social media. 5 young women have been named to the 2026 Royal Court for this year's Kentucky Derby Festival. The coveted titles come with a $2,000 scholarship and the chance to experience all of the Kentucky Derby Festival events. There are more than 70 of those events, so they will be busy. We talked to one of the princesses who was crowned yesterday. She says those duties go far beyond wearing a dress and a tiara.
I think that when you talk about a Derby princess, or when you talk about a princess in general, people automatically think of the dresses and the crowns and all of those things. But I think the important thing to remember is it's so much more than that. All of the ladies that are surrounding me have done amazing things, and they're super involved within their community, within their schools. And I think that that's the lasting impression that I would like to leave on anybody that we meet.
One of those 5 princesses will be crowned the Derby Festival Queen by a spin of the wheel at the annual Phillies Derby Ball. That's set for Saturday, March 28th at the Omni Louisville Hotel. In downtown Frankfort, the Capital City Museum is training 2 unusual new employees. 2 tabby cats have officially joined the museum staff as temporary supervisors until they get adopted.
They are just really helping with employee morale more than anything, especially in the winter months. It's so nice to have a cat snuggle on your lap during the day.
We are always looking for opportunities for our cats to have new experiences. One, it gives them more visibility in the community, so therefore they're more likely to be adopted. But it also enriches them. It gives them a different environment.
They are so cute. So that's Hazel and Moose. They are still up for adoption. Lifehouse for Animals, which is their adopting organization, says they'd love to partner with other businesses that are appropriate for cats. They look like they are doing a great job there. They are just so cute. You know me, I'm a cat lady. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back with more Sunrise Extra in just 2 minutes. Kentucky was one of the first states to let optometrists give more than just eye exams. Now they can perform laser and eyelid surgery in the Commonwealth. To get an optometry license, new graduates need to pass a 3-part national test. But this summer, the Kentucky Licensing Board decided to let applicants substitute a Canadian test for the first part of the U.S. test. Wave News troubleshooter Mark Stevens found the state board has been allowing other workarounds to students who can't pass those national exams.
The Humble Eye Chart. It quickly tests how well a patient can see. The more lines someone can read, the stronger their vision is. It's standard in optometrist offices across the state, just like their license, hanging on the wall. But 21 Kentucky optometrists have licenses, even though how they qualified for them is blurry.
Without an understanding of anatomy, physiology, the mechanisms of disease, I don't see how an optometrist could function.
Optometrist Michael Olson is president of the National Board of Examiners in Optometry, which administers the national tests. He says Kentucky's decision allowing a foreign exam makes no sense.
This idea of substituting this part for that part or not requiring a certain part honestly makes no logical sense to me.
Olson told lawmakers the decision weakens Kentucky standards, but the board told lawmakers they were trying to help students find a different way.
We need to be always looking for different avenues and to make sure our students coming in here, licensees, are clinically relevant.
Former board president Joe Ellis argued the Canadian exam was just as good as the U.S. test, even though they are not the same. He worried about students.
We're concerned about the welfare of students attempting to go to optometry school. Again, if they see the testing is insurmountable, they may not choose this profession down the road here.
Ellis helped create the Kentucky College of Optometry while he served as a trustee at the University of Pikeville before being appointed to the state board in 2021. Minutes Wave troubleshooters obtained show the board granted waivers for students struggling to pass the national exams multiple times. Ellis had a personal connection to the issue. His daughter Hannah was one of them. Wave troubleshooters obtained her testing records. They show she failed all 3 parts of the U.S. test, and yet Kentucky licensed her.
Hi, Hannah. This is Mark Stevens calling from Wave News over in Louisville, Kentucky. How are you?
Hannah declined to answer my questions when I called, but her licensing file shows Kentucky opened an alternative path to grant her a license. It accepted an Oklahoma state test instead of the national exams. The board president relied on a letter from the Oklahoma Board of Examiners in Optometry, claiming their test was more detailed and more personal than the national exams. Hannah was also not the only optometrist granted a license following that path. The Kentucky board also accepted Oklahoma exams for Tyler Fruth and Mark Norden Jr. Both failed Part 1, and Norden Jr. also failed Part 2 of the national exam.
I'm unaware of any literature citing a state board exam as equivalent to the national board exam, and certainly not better.
Neither Fruth nor Norden Jr. answered any of my questions when I called. Joe Ellis did not return my call. Minutes show Kentucky closed the Oklahoma pathway in August 2022. Wave troubleshooters have no evidence any of these optometrists are providing poor care. But minutes we obtained show the Kentucky board has repeatedly waived portions of the U.S. test. It first waived requiring Part 3 in November 2020 for 2020 and 2021 graduates. It renewed and expanded that waiver to 2022 and 2023 graduates in February of 2022. The next month, lawmakers ended Kentucky's COVID emergency.
It is time to end the emergency and its changes.
But the board took 6 months to reverse that Part 3 waiver, reinstating the requirement in September of 2022. And then 2 months later, the board brought the waiver back for 2023 grads, citing a conversation with the Kentucky College of Optometry professor. Finally, in December 2023, the board waived Part 1 of the U.S. exam for 2020 and 21 grads as long as they got extra education. And this July, its rule allowing students to skip Part 1 of the U.S. test entirely if they choose to take the Canadian substitute exam was put into place. The Attorney General's office said the board has the power to accept the Canadian substitute test in an October opinion. But the Attorney General's opinion also says the board's waiver of Part 3 is not legal.
You're lowering the bar in a state that has one of the most broadest scope of practices in the country. And that's, to me, that's scary.
Professor Robert Donati lives in Kentucky, but teaches basic science courses at the Illinois College of Optometry. He was already stunned at the board's decision to allow a Canadian test in place of the U.S. one. He says he would not use any Kentucky optometrist granted a waiver.
I would not use any of those types of practitioners that haven't passed, that have gotten through some other state-only type of exam that haven't passed the national boards.
Ellis resigned from the Kentucky board the day before the Kentucky Lantern first reported the NBEO letter questioning how 21 optometrists had been granted licenses, even though they had not passed all parts of the U.S. exam. Board members did not discuss the issue publicly at their last meeting, only voting to go into closed session, citing a need to discuss possible litigation over these waivers. Both the board's vice president and the executive director declined to speak after.
I don't have any comments, but thank you. Have a Merry Christmas.
Olson says the board's role is to protect patient safety. He doesn't believe that's what it's been doing.
If their behavior is what it appears to be, I'm embarrassed and disappointed.
The Kentucky board issued an emergency rule on New Year's Eve requiring all license holders pass all 3 parts of the national exam when they renew in 2027. It does still allow the Canadian substitute and a Kentucky substitute. The board is holding a public hearing on the ruling on February 27th. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back with more Sunrise Extra in 2 minutes. UK basketball fans have been pretty disappointed so far this season, and now some even more upsetting news. They've learned one of their key players will be out for the rest of the season. Point guard Jalen Lowe is having surgery on his injured shoulder. That'll end his 1 year at Kentucky early. Lowe had been dealing with a shoulder injury for most of the season before he re-aggravated that injury, going for a steal against Mississippi State on Saturday. The transfer from Pitt played in just 9 games this season for the Cats, averaging 8 points and 2 assists a night. Head coach Mark Pope was hoping he could return, but now he has to plan to move on without him.
He was in some pain yesterday. And so we're kind of doing consults and I was hoping that he was going to wake up yesterday morning and just feel perfect, but he didn't. So we'll kind of move forward.
Wishing him well on his recovery there. The Cats are back in action tomorrow, taking on LSU at 7 o'clock. We are just weeks away from the Winter Olympics in Milan Cortina, and Team USA continues to come into focus here. Eli Rosenberg introduces us to a freestyle skier with a name perfect for this sport.
When your last name means ice in Italian, maybe this: flying down the mountain and through the air is your destiny. Maybe an Olympics in Italy is your calling.
I'm Olivia Giacchio, and I'm a freestyle mogul skier.
So how does someone from Connecticut get into moguls?
Completely by accident, I would say.
By accident, because it was young Olivia's parents looking for a break so they could go snowboarding in Killington that led to this Connecticut native's first taste of snow.
Being with their friends, and so that we can keep having our time on the mountain on our own. And so the ski instructors pointed across the way to Killington Ski Club, and the rest is history. My mom signed us up for a random program. In fact, both of my parents don't know how to ski, so.
That random program, all about the moguls. The demands of the sport, a perfect fit for Giacchio's personality.
I really, really love about training and competing, and it's definitely a sport where you have one shot that's less than 30 seconds to be able to perform your best. I really love the combination of turns, speed, and jumping.
And mastering all three has led Giacchio to new heights. An Olympic berth in 2022 in Beijing, and 15 top 3 finishes since the start of the 2023 World Cup circuit. But there have also been setbacks. A broken collarbone and stem cells in her knee to deal with chronic pain.
I really, really learned how to invest in myself and truly believe in myself. So I think that kind of period of my life, one thing's for sure, you definitely never know what to expect. So
now Giacchio is training with no restrictions, healed and ready, as we saw her jump time and time and time again at the Utah Olympic Park in Park City this fall. With a name perfect for this Olympics and the drive to make it more than just a dream.
when I started mogul skiing, I wanted to be an Olympic gold medalist. And so there's some dreams that I've yet to achieve.
Amazing how it started off by chance there too. Wishing her luck. Olivia recently finished on the podium in Finland, bringing her one step closer to the Olympic stage. She skied on 68 different mountains and hopes to add Milan Cortina to her list. The Winter Olympics opening ceremony is happening on February 6th, and you can watch it on Wave and NBC. Thanks so much for joining us here for Sunrise Extra. Hope you have a great Tuesday.